This
So
conference will now be recorded.
I'm Lakshman. So having 12 years experience in Java and the J2EE technologies. Most of my 12 years I worked on the Java and the J2EE technologies, and I worked on various projects and like no so, during my free hours or during my weekends I'll be conducting these training sessions. I have trained more than 5,000 students in Bangalore itself. Yeah, so and I've done my sun certification in the year 2008. It's almost you can say that uh, 12 years. Yeah. So and currently I'm working in for the product based company. Yeah. uh, this is about me, so just to get to know, like, no, so people uh, like what is my experience, just I introduced you guys. Okay, so this is a demo session. Just we'll go as like, no, instead of one way, you guys can, you can like, no, you can make it, we can make this session more interactive session, so that it will be you will not get bored. Yeah. That's the thing. And Java. Yes, so the current version is a Java 15. Yeah, that's the version, the current version. But still, industry is using the Java 5, 6, and 7, 8. So our projects, most of our projects are in Java 8. Okay, we will get start with the Java 8. Don't worry about the Java 8 or Java 15, and then we'll learn once we get the familiar with the Java 8 and what other things they have introduced in it. Java 5 and Java 8 is the major changes they have introduced in the language. So Java 5, that's a place where the Oracle has acquired the Sun microsystem, and the major release they have done it in Java 8. They have introduced a lot of new concepts like streamings and the lambda functions, the functional programming. A lot of concepts was introduced in the Java 8. And Java 9, 10, 11, 13, so 12, 13, 14, 15. The current version is a 15. And whenever they release the version, they may be fixing the some bugs, and they may be introducing some new features. And as a Java developer, like if you're working in a project, you will not get chance to go and use the all the new features of the whatever they have introduced in new versions. The most of the times you will be working in your, when you are working in a project, you'll work only with the project related work, and whenever you are migrating, you may use those features in migration time. If your application is developed in Java 5, suppose if you are moving your application to the Java 8, so that is a time where you get a chance to work on the using the all the Java 8 features, or in that case Java 15 as well. Yeah. So otherwise you may not worry about the, once you enter into the job, like, no, you just worried about the what is your tasks and the related work what you are going to do, that you don't care about the what are the new versions, new versions has been released, and what are the new features in it. So unless until when you are migrating, or you are, if you are creating a brand new project, people may not go with the Java 15 directly. They may use the one version less than the what is the current version, because they, it has to be stabilized. Yeah, that's a reason you shouldn't be worrying about too much about the new releases of the each version and the features of that. But as a beginner, yes, you must aware of that, like if you are learning the Java is your first programming language, you have to get started with the one version. Once you get familiar with that, then automatically you yourself will go and explore what are the new things it is added in each version. And whenever new version is released, only you know that what to look for, and how it is going to help you in your project. So you are going to concentrate on only those areas you are going to concentrate. Okay, so our sessions will get started with the Java 8. We'll code it in Java 8, and later end up the core Java concepts. Like I'll be telling you the what are the new features are added in each version. Java 9, Java 10. Like now we will take it that, and what are the major features we have to we must aware of that. And this from 8 to 15, there is no major features they have added. Those are the small features they have added. In Java 9, they added the small features called the module concepts they have introduced. So not to get into the too much about that part, just we'll get start our learning with the Java 8. So you may ask can't I use it in Java 10 or Java 15? Yes, you can use it. You can use it here, but Java 8 programs can run on Java 15, but whereas Java 15 program may not run it in Java 8. So what are the code I am writing here? If you have installed the very advanced versions, you can take it and you can run those features. Yeah. So that is a main thing. Like backward compatibility, Java has got the beautiful backward compatibility. So Java 8 programs you can run it in Java 15 or what are the greater versions. You can run it easily without any problems. Okay, that's the one thing. And the next one is when you are going to work with the Java. The first thing is we have to do the basic setup dev environment. We have to do that dev setup. Okay, dev environment we need to set up here. In when you are setting up the dev environment, the mainly you require the something called the JDK. Another one is you require the one IDE. Yeah. So this is a place where Java installation you have to do that here. And then when it comes to the IDE, so integrated development environment, where it is going to integrate all the things. So here you can use the any of the your favorite IDEs. Suppose if you have already experience with the some IDEs, don't worry, you can go ahead with the that particular IDE. If you are not familiar with the any IDEs, if you are using the first time IDE, I would ask you people to use the Eclipse. Yeah, Eclipse is it's again it's open source. You don't have any licensing issues. Are you there are other options available like NetBeans, IntelliJ. Yeah, so some these days I'm seeing that VS Code people are using the VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Yeah, that is also a great tool where you can use the Visual Studio Code to type you to work on your Java applications. Yeah, so VS Code, yes, these days people have started using like last 2 years it got huge popularity. Almost every development environment people these days people are using the VS Code. Like it can be a UI projects, it can be a Java project, it can be a Python. So people started using the VS Code because it's very lightweight. Like you are going to add the small plugins you will be adding here. I will show you that how to use the VS Code as well, and Eclipse. And JDK, you need to choose the one of the versions, whether it can be a JDK 8 or 9 or so 15. You have to choose the one of the version. And here I'm using the JDK 8. I'm going to use it here. The JDK stands for the Java Development Kit, and JDK comes with the whenever you are installing the JDK, it is going to install the even JRE as well. So Java runtime environment it is going to install here. So when you are working with the Java, the first thing is the installation minimum it is required here, installation of the JDK and the JRE. If you are installing the JDK, by default it comes with the JRE. This is still Java 8. From Java 9 onwards, you don't see the JRE. So it is made it as a one module of the JDK. They made it here. Now here, since we are using the JDK 8, so when you install that, it is going to install the two things. One is a JDK, another one is a JRE, Java Runtime Environment. This is two things we have to do the setup. Once you're done with the setup, JDK installation and Eclipse installation, so these are the basic things. Basic things is required to work with the Java. Once you've done with these two things, then you can get start with the what are the coding you are going to do. That you will be working on that. Okay, so I'm not going to the two details about the how to install the JDK. So maybe probably when sessions is started, I'll discuss about that. The first thing is I want to ensure that whether my JDK is installed properly or not. I'm going to use this. Yeah, I'm using the Windows machine, guys. Like no, you guys can use the what are the suppose if you have a Mac OS or if you're using the Windows, that's okay. You can continue with the whatever operating system you're using. Almost because Java is a platform independent, you shouldn't be worrying about the operating system. It can run on any machine. Okay. Now I'm going to check that here Java hyphen hyphen version. So this is a place where it is going to say that I'm sorry, Java hyphen version, which is going to tell you that what is the version of the Java you're using. It is saying that 1 point is a version. And Java C, Java compiler version also, I'm going to check the what is the version. I'm going to check it here. It is going to say it as a this is what, and I'm going to check it here. Java version, both the compiler version and the Java version, Java runtime environment, both it is having the so 1.8. So this will ensure that your Java installation is proper and it has set properly. In case of the Windows also, you can do the same thing. In case of the Windows also, you can do the same thing. So installation of the JDK is a very simple and straightforward. I'll be discussing about that when she start the session. And the next thing is you may have some expectations. What kind of applications am I going to develop, and what are the things I'll be learning in this the Java course, Center Java course. What you are going to learn about that. So first, like if you are breaking your application into the multiple things, whenever you develop any application, let's take a here. This is one of the simplest application which we are going to develop during the classroom phase. I'll be introducing the developing of this application. This is the statistics of the IPL, and this is the application when you take it here. So whenever you are going to select a particular team, so let me, yeah, this is about the, yes. So this is about the IPL statistics. Yeah. So suppose if I'm selecting the Mumbai Indians MI, this is going to give me the entire details about the players and what is the amount he has been paid. And if I take the Mumbai Indians, how many players are there? Okay, so how many batsmen they have, how many bowlers they have, how many all-rounders, how many wicket keepers, we'll get the details of that. Suppose if I want to see who are the all-rounders, when you click on that, you will get a list of all-rounders details. You are going to get it here. So this is a small simple application where we are going to develop this application during the classroom phase. So we have a seed data, like no, you have a seed data, maybe probably the data you'll get it in a form of a JSON form file. You'll get that. This is the entire team information you will be having here. Suppose if I'm taking the team name is a MI, and MI team has got the multiple players in it. This is the entire team details you will be having here. I'll be giving the seed data to you guys. And same thing, you have a one more team called the CSK. Okay, like this you have a multiple teams. This entire information you will be taking this entire information, and finally by using that information you are going to do the basic statistics. You are going to do it here. To do this, like no, reading the data from the JSON file and storing into the database, and related stuff, like I'll show you that the sample data as well, so that you will understand what we are going to do that. Okay, I don't have permission to see that. Okay. Okay, 1 minute guys. Yeah, so this is the data, you will get it here. Okay, this is the data you will be having. This is the data. This data we need to process this data, and finally we have to make it this data accessible by the UI application. Like now, when you take this application, so you will have you will be having here, there is something called you will be having the application, the server side, and you will be having the one database. You will be taking this is application which will be using some database. You are going to use it here, and this application will be talking to this is a database. It is going to talk to here, and this is going to run it in a one server. Like now, let's take it as here. This is going to run it in some server. It is going to run it here, and this is a place where you are going to deploy your application into the. You're going to deploy your application in a server. You are going to deploy here, and this is a place where you will be using the server side language. Okay, here you may use the let's take it as here IPL stat app. These are my application name, and internally this application may be using the like Spring or like database to interact with that. You will be using the like Hibernate, yeah, Hibernate or Spring Data. You will be using here Hibernate or Spring Data. Internally, Spring Data uses the Spring Data. You will be using that, and finally you will expose the data by using the web services. You will write it here. So once you write the web services, you are exposing this data. What are the data you have stored in a database? Okay, even sometimes even if you don't understand, that's okay. Just I want to tell you that the how this application is going to be developed. That the first part is we will take this raw data and we are going to dump it into the this database. We are going to dump that. You will be dumping. You may use the we have two options here. This database can be a SQL database or it can be a no SQL database. Okay, you can use the one of these databases. One is SQL databases, another one is no SQL database. And when you're using the SQL database, we may use the MySQL. When you are learning about the NoSQL database, we'll learn about the MongoDB. Okay, this is another database which we may develop this application in one with the SQL database, and another one is the same application we may develop with the NoSQL databases. That's where we learn about the what is the difference between SQL database and the NoSQL databases. These concepts we are going to learn about that. Once you store this, dump this data into the database. Yeah, this is the data we are going to dump into the database. We are going to dump it here. So by looking at this data, we cannot make it anything. So this is like just a raw data. This is a we are going to take it as a raw data. We are going to take it here. Like from that data, we need to process the first. I need to get the all the team labels. We need to get the team labels. So once you dump this data into the database, what is the first information you required is here. Here we are going to get it here from this. So we need to get the get all team labels. Only we should get the all the team labels. Now, what are the data you inserted into the database? I'm sorry. What are the data you inserted into the database? From this database, you need to write a queries. What is the first query we required here? So you get the all the team labels. Now, if you are looking at this data, if you are looking at this data, if you are looking at here, each team has got the one label. The label is a MI. We don't require the other information. Only we require the collection of labels we required here. To collect that, we have to write a queries. This is a place where you need to know something called the SQL. You must aware of the SQL, and if you are working with the MongoDB, so you need to know Mongo queries, how we are going to write the Mongo queries. You will be writing the all the related queries and related database related stuff. You must aware of that. So once you get familiar with the SQL or NoSQL databases, you will be writing the queries. The queries can be a simple queries, it can be a complex queries. Now let's look at here. Here we are going to get the like how many all-rounders are there, how many batsmen are there, how many bowlers are there, how many wicket keepers are there. We don't have that information here. So here we have a each team. The team has got the list of players. Team has got the list of players, and from this data, we want to get the how many all-rounders are there for the particular team. Now here we are going to select the CSK, and here CSK it is saying that there is a two wicket keepers. If you go back and look at that the CSK, so the team name is a CSK. Yeah, this is a Punjab, and here you will be having the KKR, RR. Okay, my goodness, that would be the last team. SRH. Okay, so this is a CSK, and from these players, I have to count based on the role. Batsmen, how many are there? And wicket keepers, how many are there? And all-rounders, how many are there? There is a two wicket keepers. There is a two wicket keepers they have in their team. So to get this count of each role, again we have to write a query for that. We are going to write a query for that. So this entire thing, whatever application you are going to develop that, so this part we call it as a backend. Like writing the web services, interaction with the databases, everything we call it as a backend development. This application we call it as a backend. Backend doesn't mean that only interacting with the databases. The backend application, when you say that, so you are a backend developer, you must aware of that, aware of that, how to write a web services and how to write your business logic, and entire server application you are going to you are involving in that development. So this is the job of the backend developers. Backend developers are they will be writing web services and the business logic. What are the business logic you are going to write it here? You will be writing the business logic, and finally you are building this application. It can be build it as a var or jar. Yeah, these days people are whenever once you develop that application has to go and deploy into somewhere. And the somewhere you can be a cloud service, like it can be deployed into the Amazon or Heroku. Like you have a lot of cloud platforms are available. You can choose the one of those things. You have an option you can use the Amazon AWS, or you can use the Heroku. So Heroku is also another cloud service provider where you can deploy your application into the Heroku. I would ask you people to explore the what is a Heroku. It's a free cloud service. You don't they don't ask you the any credit card or any your the confidential information. Just they need one email ID and the basic information you need to provide. So they don't ask for the credit card or debit card details. So as a beginner, if you want to explore about the cloud and how that works, so just you explore the Heroku. Whereas Amazon AWS, if you don't use properly, you may end up with paying the some amount. Yeah, it's a better you go with the Heroku, so that they have a limited features, but still that's okay. You will get an exposure of the how to deploy the application into the cloud servers. You will get a first hand information in Heroku. Yeah, and here the SQL databases, and both will provide the cloud databases they will provide. So, or you can, if you are using the Mongo Atlas, there's something called the Mongo Atlas. So this is a place where it provides the cloud service. The data this provides as a database as a service. Mongo Atlas is a database as a service. You guys, whenever you're developing the hobby projects, I would ask you people go and explore with the Heroku and Mongo Atlas. And even Heroku will provide the as a SQL database is a Postgres SQL database they will provide. So you guys, instead of MySQL, you can use with the Postgres SQL, you can use it. Yeah. So these are the things you will be getting exposed to the backend developers. Yeah. So in order to develop this backend application, you must aware of the Java concepts. You must aware of that. You should have the strong knowledge on the core Java. So this is a place where you learn about the what are the language basics of the language, essentials of the programming languages, and at the same time the fundamental blocks, how to construct a loops, and how we are going to write the iterative statements. Iterative statements are nothing but the loops. And at the same time, how are you going to write the conditional statements, and at the same time what are the data types as provided by the Java, and what are the keywords are provided, and how how are you going to write the statement, and how we are going to write a methods and class definition, object oriented concepts, and how are you going to handle the exceptions, and how you will be using the collection framework, what is the reflection API, what are the annotations. So the core Java, I can say that if you have a solid knowledge on the core Java, that will help you. Definitely it will help you learning the advanced concepts easily. And not only that, if you have a very strong knowledge on the core Java, You can learn Android also easily, and you can learn the testing frameworks like Selenium also you can learn easily. So in order to learn build any enterprise application, you must have the a strong knowledge on the core Java, the strong knowledge on the core Java. Yeah, you may ask the question like, without having the core Java knowledge, can't I learn the advanced concepts? Yeah, you can learn. Always, it will be like, it will happen back and forth. Like, whenever you get a doubt, again you will go back to the fundamentals, and you will read up again. You will come back and you will start. You will be doing the something. Suppose if somebody says in your team, hey, why don't you typecast that? So if you are not aware of the typecasting, so again you will Google it and you will read about that, and you will come back and you will continue your work. No doubt in that. Yeah, but when you're speaking that, like, when somebody says that, no, why don't you use the container? Probably you may not aware of that. What is a container? Again, we do the same process. Again, go back and Google it, and what is a container and how this works. So we will do that. We'll survive. There is no doubt about that. So in order to avoid that, like, you must get familiar with the all the terminology, not only terminology, and you should get the hands-on experience about the how to use the containers, how are you going to do the exception handling, and how to write a beautiful logics, like, how you like when not instead of beautiful logics, how you can write the effective logics. Yeah, those all the things you will be learning in core Java. Once you get a familiar with the core Java, and you should have the knowledge on the database. This database can be you have a two options. One is SQL database, another one is NoSQL database. These days, most of them are asking, most of the companies are expecting you must aware of the both the databases, SQL databases and NoSQL databases. I would ask you people to don't worry about the what database you are using here. You learn about the you should know, you should have the knowledge on the SQL. SQL is a common language for the all the relational databases. Like, it can be a Oracle, it can be a MySQL, Derby, or DB2, or SQLite. There are plenty of databases are available, even when you take the relational databases. So don't worry about it, what database you are going to use it here, and you just concentrate on the SQL. Yeah, SQL is a common language, I'm saying here. So once you get familiar with the common language, yeah, when you're learning the SQL, you have to take the one of the database. You may take the MySQL and you may learn the SQL, or you may take the Oracle and we may learn the SQL concepts. So if you are working, you learn SQL by using the MySQL, and switching to the Oracle is, it may not take you more than a week time, and not even week time. It may take the couple of hours you to convert the MySQL code to the Oracle queries. So most of the times, most of the things has been standardized by the SQL group. Almost all the databases uses the same standards, but there will be some changes, like, no, their data types may be different, or sometimes inner queries, the way you write it in SQL and Oracle and MySQL may be slightly different. So what are the differences? You have to learn that. So you should have the strong knowledge on the SQL. So once you get the knowledge on the SQL, then you try to look at the what is the NoSQL databases. What are the other databases, like, no? So Cassandra, then there you have a MongoDB, then there is a CouchDB. Like this, there are a lot of databases are available, NoSQL databases. So I would ask you people to concentrate on the MongoDB. Yeah, MongoDB. Once you get familiar with that, you can understand easily. In order to learn MongoDB, so there is a basic knowledge is required here is you should have the JavaScript knowledge, little bit of the JavaScript knowledge, and there is something called the JSON. Okay, these are the two concepts you must aware of that. I'm not saying that you have to be an expert. If you are aware of the JavaScript and the JSON, that will help you in learning the MongoDB. Once you learn that, so core Java concepts I learned the database. Now by using the core Java, how are you going to connect with these databases? So for that, you will be using the JDBC. You should aware of that. JDBC is used to connect with the SQL databases. And Mongo has got the separate approach. Mongo drivers, you have to use it and you will be connecting with that. The equivalent of the JDBC is Mongo has got the, so Mongo drivers, you have to use it here. So once you connect with this application, now you, by using these technologies, you can develop a standalone application. What is a standalone means? That can run in your only one machine. It cannot be shared in a network. Now, in order to access everywhere, like this, I have to develop the application. That application needs to be accessed everywhere. Then you have to use the server side technology. We have to use the server side technology. We have to use it here. Before using the server side technology, you must have the basic knowledge on the UI. Like, no, this is a page which is developed in the pages. It is developed by using the HTML and Bootstrap and the JavaScript. It has been developed. Yeah, HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap and JavaScript. It is developed. Or Angular in that matter, like no Angular or React. So these are the again frameworks. Before learning the UI frameworks, you must aware of the HTML, the basics of the CSS. Then you have a Bootstrap, and the main thing is your JavaScript. So this is the things you must aware of that, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. And once you get familiar with that, like if you want to go as a full-fledged full stack developer, so you are expected to know about the Angular or React. So any one of these frameworks, you must aware of that. So application may not use the both, so they may use the Angular or React. So even these days, so the UI applications also following the microservices. That's called the micro front end. So if you are using the micro front end, then you are expected to know everything. So you should have the strong knowledge on the JavaScript and Angular and React. So by using that, you can develop the UI application you can develop here. Now to develop the front end application, so you must have the knowledge on the front end applications in order to develop the beautiful UI applications. These UI applications, we may talk to the server applications, and what are the data you are going to render. That data you will get it by calling these web services. You'll get the data, and once you get this data, like whether you want to display in a form of a table format or you want to display in a form of a chart, that you will be decided in the UI side. You are going to decide here. So this is the place where you are going to learn about you are going to learn and you are going to implement the UI application. So we may use the by using the JavaScript and these things, we are going to develop that. Like now, when you are learning the JavaScript, what are the things you will be learning and what are the things you are going to develop? You can see here, by when you are learning the UI, suppose if you are learning about the operators, like now we know how operators, so what are the operators are there, like now whenever take the addition, multiplication, and not only learning that, along with that you will be doing the a small application like no EMI calculator, how we are going to develop that, milliseconds to seconds and hours, how we are going to convert. So this is a small simple applications you are going to develop that. Like here you are learning the HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Instead of taking the simple hello world example or anything, like now we'll take a small application. We'll try to develop that, like now by using the operators. Like here I'm going to take it here, 1 2. So this is what, and EMI calculator, whether it has implemented or not, I'm not sure. This is what I'm going to take the lakh rupee I'm taking here, and I want to pay in 12 months, and I'm taking the 14% is a interest, and monthly EMI. Don't worry about this whether it's exact number or not. It's exact number, but don't worry about this. The amount, yeah. So how the EMI calculator is, EMI is calculated, like there are a lot of formulas are available in Google. You can search for that, like wherever you see the EMI calculator, then they will explain that how the EMI has been calculated. We have taken the one of the formula and you are going to get it. This is what you are going to get it here. So these are nothing but the operators. Like now here, what are the operators you are using here? How we are going to, like plus, minus, multiplication, division, those operators we are going to use it here, and we'll finally we are going to build that a simple application. You are going to build it here. So this is a way, the JavaScript we are going to learn it here. Like now there is a lot of operations are available, whether checks the whether given string is a palindrome or not. I'm going to say it as a mom, so it is saying it as it's a palindrome. Email ID I'm going to enter here, it is saying that invalid email ID. So I'm going to enter here gmail.com. It's saying it as a valid, and the permutations of this string, when I take it here, I don't think so it is implemented. So here we are going to so just I'm going to say it as a Angular. I'm going to say that here it is not printing that because we didn't implement that. Yeah. So the same way, when you're learning about the functions, like now sum of digits, so 1 2 3, some it is going to be reverse and palindrome or not. Whatever you learn the concepts, like no, you will be developing the some application you're going to develop, and that application you're going to deploy into the GitHub pages. Everything will make it as like GitHub accessible, like you can share with your friends, or like if you want to, if you are a beginner, hey, these are the things I have done, and like you can put it in your profile, and you can show them like hey, these are the things I'm aware of, that these are the applications when I'm learning the Angular, so when I'm learning the JavaScript. So these are the things I have done. That it's not only like the contact application when you take it here, how we are going to build this application. Suppose if this age is changed to the 38, just I'm going to update. So just it is updated here. How we are going to perform the edit operation, how we are going to perform the delete operation. Are you sure, do you want to delete the email? If you don't want to delete that, and if you want to delete that, yes, you are going to say it here. So this, all these things, it uses the in-memory concept, and how we are going to develop this application. It's update. So whenever you click on edit, it's going to change it to the update, but email ID cannot be updated. You can update the other things here. You can update here. So Manoj Kumar, I'm going to do it here. So this is a way you will be developing the CRUD operations by using the JavaScript. The same thing, IPL statistics, whatever we learn. So like how we are going to consume the RESTful web services, and we will be consuming here. Yeah, it's taking a little while. I don't know whether it works or not. Okay, so might be, what is the reason? Let me check it here. It's taking a long time. It shouldn't be taking that long time. Yeah, it is working. There is no problem. So this is the same thing. We are going to use it here, and when you select it here, the particular team details, you are going to get it here. Only this part we implemented that. Later I will be asking you people to implement the other things. I will be asking you to implement that. Like whenever you're learning the any language in that matter, you should develop the a small application, so that later when you are sitting in an interview panel, like where you can say that, no, hey, these are the things I have developed. You can show them. So how to build this application, how we are going to host it in a server, I'll be how to make it as your GitHub, how we are going to use that GitHub, and how can you make this as a GitHub pages. I'll be explaining that. Okay, so this is what you can expect when you're learning the UI. So this kind of applications you are going to develop, and you will be introduced. You will be introduced to each and every concept, and we'll make a pages, and the code will be shared with you. Source code will be shared with you, and you guys can give a try. Like so 2 3 operations I may do that. Remaining operations I may. This UI will be made it available to you. Placeholders will be given to you, and rest of the things you will be completing that. So this is what you will be learning that. Now then, when it comes to the, you have we are going to develop the UI, like server side pages. When you're developing the server side pages, the traditional approach, like there is a servlets and JSP. Servlets and JSP. In order to create a dynamic web pages, you may use the servlets and JSP concept. So this was we can say it as a way back people used to develop this approach. People used to develop the servlets and JSP approach the way back. I can say that because your UI and your the business logic and everything will be like it is in one place. Whenever you are making some changes in UI, whenever you are making some changes in the server side, both has to be built because it is both are in one place. So this kind of applications, we call it as these days monolithic applications, and people are now absolutely they are not preferring the monolithic applications. Instead, they are going with the microservices. What does it mean? So they are going to separate the server side application from they are decoupling the server side application and the UI application. So when you have a UI and a server side, if you are separating that, you can use the server side any language. It doesn't matter whether you use the Python or Java or PHP or .NET. So you have to write a server side. You have to write a server side, and like no, like you are going to write it as a web services. You are going to write it here. These web services you are going to expose, and these web services are consumed by the UI application. Either UI can be, it can be a mobile application. Yeah, it can be a mobile application, it can be a web application. Yeah, it can be a native application, it doesn't matter. So you have a flexibility that you can use the, even when you are developing the mobile and web application, you can choose either Angular, or you can use the React, or you may use the simple jQuery application. You may write it here. Simple jQuery application, you are going to write it here. Yeah, simple jQuery application. By using the Bootstrap, you can develop here. So this server side applications, it is not going to render the UI. It just exchange the data. To exchange the data, again, you have a various common formats you will be having here. One is a JSON, another one is a, you will be using the XML. So by using the these days, most of the applications will be using the JSON. They'll be using that. So you will be sending the JSON data, and this is a place where you are going to render the data. Rendering the data is a job of the UI developer. If you are a full stack developer, both you have to manage that. And this is a place. So we are going to use the Spring Boot, and when you are learning the Spring framework, the Spring framework the Spring framework, we are going to learn it here. This is a place, again we'll start with the Spring core, and again we will be learning about the how we are going to learn the Spring data, then AOP, then we'll be learning about the security and web services, or MEC, we can say it here, MEC. Then we are going to learn about the, so how we are going to write the web services. You will be writing here in order to interact with the databases. In order to interact with the databases, where you may use the either Hibernate, we may learn. Yeah, we may know, we learn the Hibernate, and this Hibernate, instead of Hibernate, we will be using the Spring data. So Spring data JPA, and Spring data MongoDB, Spring data MongoDB. These are the concepts you will be learning about that. So during learning the Spring concepts, we may learn about the JWT concepts, how we are going to use the Spring security with the JWT. Like no, so your application needs to make it as a secure. So how to work with the JWT concepts, like no, Java Web Token. So how we are going to exchange the token, how we are going to make it your, how we are going to secure your application. These concepts you will be learning. Once you learn all these concepts, then finally we are going to build our application. So when you are building this application, or when you are developing these applications, each and every developer must aware of these concepts. JIT and the build tools, like now you must aware of that, either Gradle or Maven. Yeah, so Gradle or Maven. So we will be learning the Maven. We are going to learn about that, and like at the end, if you want, I will be explaining about the Maven. And along with that, like the Git and the Maven. And as a developer, you need to write the test cases. Like now, what are the code you have written, that code has to be tested, and for that purpose you will be writing the unit test cases. You are going to write it here. So how we are going to write the JUnit test cases, that will be introduced from the core Java itself. When you are writing the core Java application itself, the JUnit will be introduced. And is the Git, how we are going to use it here, and how, what are the Git commands, and how effectively you can use the Git. Those things I will be explaining. The build tools, where you will be using the Maven. So probably once we started core Java, so we will create our core Java application with the Maven project. We don't create a traditional core Java applications. We'll create a Maven project, and how to get start with that. And instead of writing the main method, in order to test our code, we'll use the JUnit. How to use the JUnit, and the JUnit 5, that's the latest version. You will be learning about the JUnit 5, and we'll be writing the test cases. You are going to write it here. Once you're done with that, like now when you are taking the build automation, so where this is a place where you must aware of that. So Jenkins, you must aware of the Jenkins, the CI and CD tool, continuous integration and development. So Jenkins, we are going to use it here. How to create a Jenkins jobs, you will be getting exposed, and I'll be introducing that, and I'll make you guys to do that. And when you're learning that, where you are going to use the Sonar Cube. This is Sonar Cube is a, we can say it's a static code analyzer, where it will tell you that how much how good code you have written, like, code quality checks will be checked by using the Sonar. And at the same time, Jacoco is a plugin. So this plugin will tell you that how much code coverage has done that, like, what does it mean. So you have written a code and you have written a test cases, and whether your test cases covers the entire code or not, so that will be you will be checked by using the Jacoco plugin. So these all these things you will be introduced. And once you get all these things familiar, and you need to deploy this application, we follow the all the build process. Finally you have to deploy the build process. That's a place where we may use the AWS, or we may use the Heroku. You are going to use it here, one of these two cloud platforms. Yeah, I may explain about the both the things, how you are going to deploy into the AWS and how you will be deploying into the Heroku. Both the things I'll be introducing you guys. So this is a way we will go through the entire development of the application we are going to develop. That, like, our sessions will start with the core Java, very basics. We will get start with that. Then slowly, gradually, you will be learning the database concepts. Then you will be learning about the UI concepts. Then you learn about the server side. Then we are going to learn about the Spring and the Spring framework concepts. And finally, how the applications are in a real time, how we are going to deploy into the servers, and how the applications are managed. And not only that, like, there are other things also, like, during when you are learning that, like, you must aware of that logging framework, how we are going to use the logs. So what are the logs and how we are going to see the logs. Yeah, so like, logging different levels will be there. So there's all these things we will be using when you're developing the. So this is application we are going to develop that, like, no. So this is a complete application we will develop. we this is running in Heroku, and UI is running in a GitHub page. Heroku, sorry, Angular application is running in the Firebase. So this is running in a Firebase. Firebase also another free service, cloud service, not free. So certain MB data you can use it as a free. So I use the Firebase as a UI application, and backend server is running in Heroku. So data is getting from the Heroku, and we are rendering the uh, data in Angular. The Angular application is deployed in Firebase. Angular application is deployed in a Firebase. So these are the things you can expect during this session, and these sessions will definitely will help you, like, with the 1 or 2 years experience guy, what are the exposure he gets. So the same thing exposure you will get it in this training period. And everything is a hands-on session, like, we will not take any ready-made code or anything. Just we'll be taking some example, random example. We'll trying to solve that problems, and along with that I'll be giving the task to you. And the tasks the like tasks and some quizzes will be given to you, and you can evaluate how much you learn, and you can challenge yourself, did I understand the concept or not. So you can check with that. Yeah, so this is approach I'm going to take it these sessions. Yeah, I said we will make it as an interactive session, but last 45 minutes I'm speaking. I'm okay, not to deviate from the flow. That's the reason I continuously I'm speaking here, guys. Yeah, before I go further, do you have any questions, guys? You guys are with me? Any questions, or if you have any special requirement, I would be more than happy to answer your questions. No? Yes, at least, can you guys are with me? Can someone respond, please?
So far, no question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yes, don't worry. Like no, okay. Am I going to do so many things, and can I learn that? You don't get it that doubt. Like no, so we'll start from the baby steps. We'll start from the baby steps. Like in order to develop this application, you just let me explain this. So this is the data will be given to you. Yeah, I'm just showing the one of the simplest example. How are you going to solve this? Okay, first I'll be asking you to, like no, when you're solving this problem, don't worry too much about that. Like no output. First we'll break it into the small units. Hey, can you get me the all the team labels? Can you get me the all the team labels? Get me all the players of the given team. Get the role wise count given team. Player details by team and role. Get all the team details. Get all amount spent by that. If you answer for these 9 questions, we are done with this. First, when I'm saying here, get all the labels. This is nothing but this is a question number one. You will be solving here, get all the team labels. Once you get the team labels, we are done with that. Now, the question number two. The question number two, get all the players of the given team. Based on the selection of the team, I should be getting all the players details. This is what we got it here. This is a question number two. The question number three, get role wise count of the given team. This is a question number three. How many all-rounders are there? How many wicket keepers are there? How many bowlers are there? How many batsmen are there? Get players details by role and team. This is a question number four. So when I'm clicking on the particular role, I should get the how many players are there. Like no, if it is take the 9.1%, so you are going to get it here. How many players are there on particular role? Like the team name is a DC and the role name is a wicket keeper. There is a two players. Just we are going to get it here. If you answer these 4 questions, we are done with the first page development. Team statistics. Get all the team details. We are going to get it here. I don't know why it is going out of that. Okay. So get all team details. We are going to get the team details. This is what team details we are getting and we are going to display here. Next question is get amount spent by the each team. How much amount has spent by the each team? That's what we are going to get it here. This is what we will be seeing here. The same thing, get amount spent on the role by team. What is the amount spent by the role? Like no CSK, if I look at here, how much they have spent on the each role. This is what query number 8. Display all the players sorted by the filter. Like no, if you go to the, so who is the maximum paid wicket keeper, maximum paid. So these are the queries if you can solve, and you will be done with that. And for that, the signature also will be given to you. Hey, how are you going to solve these questions? Team by role count, team amount, player DTO, player count, the team DTO. This is the information just I'll be making you available, and you are going to going through these requirement documents. Like no tasks will be given to you. Yeah, this is a task list, and these are the tasks will be shared with you. Like no, you will be going through this task, and finally you will be solving that. Like no, some of the places I may explain about that, what are the things it's required and how we are going to write the class diagrams and how we are going to uh, read this data CSV data, how you are going to read it. So these all these things will explain, and finally I'll be asking you to do that. So this is the approach we will be taking throughout these sessions. Yeah, and
Sir,
yeah,
what is the
yeah,
duration? Daily, how many hours from Monday to Saturday or Friday?
it
What is
is
the plan?
Monday to Saturday. It's a daily 1.5 hour session.
Okay, sir. So, how many? I mean, what is the duration?
It is a 2 months.
Okay.
Okay, so initially first 1 or 2 weeks we may not have the Saturday sessions. Yeah, so from third week onwards we'll be having the Saturday sessions as well. Okay, yeah. So thank you guys. So yeah, that's all I planned for demo. If you have any questions, I'll take your
So,
questions.
complete full stack, right? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's complete full stack training, right, sir?
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you have any questions, I'll take your questions, guys.
So are we going to learn Angular or React?
I'll introduce the Angular.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have a
Both
strong knowledge
Spring
on
and
the Java, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
sorry to interrupt. So we are going to learn Spring and Spring Boot also as part of this program.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Oh, it is. The session is going to start from the November 2nd, and timing is 7 a.m. IST. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay, fine. So I hope you learned something from me. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to end the meeting, guys. Thank you.